Hey, it's Justin. Make sure we stay connected. Go to justinbarkley.com and put in your name and your email so you can get my good newsletter so we can stay in touch no matter what happens. Our show is starting soon. Thanks for watching today, the behind the scenes live stream. The show is starting soon. Here we go. Get ready. Hey, it's Justin Barkley, and the show, the behind the scenes live stream, is starting soon. We bring you all of the action behind the scenes of the radio show and the after show podcast and all of it from right here. Don't go anywhere. We're starting soon. TikTok, here we go. The time is ticking away. The show about to start soon. Thanks for joining us. In the meantime, have some fun. Jump in the chat and say hi. Chat with folks who are from all over the state of Michigan and the country, if not the world. We have folks listening in Australia, of all places, and say hey. Even in the 51st state of Canada. It's incredible what's happening right now. Jump in the chat and say hi. We're starting live in just moments. Hey, it's Justin. The behind the scenes live stream is about ready to kick off, and we start shortly. But first, let's say thanks to the folks who make this program possible every single day. The folks at My Patriot Supply. Get ready, no matter what we see. The craziness in the news these days, the attacks from terrorists, drones flying in the skies, and all the insanity every single day. It's enough to make you think. You better be prepared. You better be ready. You can get prepared when you go to getpreparedwithjustin.com. Go to getpreparedwithjustin.com to stock up on all kinds of great things. Food, supplies, everything you need to make sure that your family is safe and ready no matter what comes. Prepare like it all depends on you. Pray like it all depends on God. The show is starting soon, thanks to the folks at My Patriot Supply. We're back in just moments, right here, the behind-the-scenes live stream. Hey, it's Justin. The show is about ready to start. First, let's say thanks to the folks who make this program possible every day. Missy and the crew at My Pure Health Solutions. Down 40 pounds in 40 days. You know, health is become a major focus, and I think especially for you and a lot of other folks in the coming year ahead. Make sure you are exactly who you were called to be, who you're supposed to show up as on a daily basis. When you drop the weight and feel great, you're going to feel better than you've ever felt before. It's not only losing the weight and being able to wear clothes that you never were able to wear and before, but it's also the energy that you get. My wife and I have been through this, and I think you will love it too. Go to My Pure Health Solutions, the website, Justin, healthwithjustin.com, healthwithjustin.com, and get ready today. The show is starting soon. Stand by. Hey, it's Justin. The show is starting soon, but first, thanks to one of the folks who actually make this show possible. Mike Lindell and the folks at MyPillow. If you go to mypillow.com or mystore.com/Justin, you use the promo code Justin, you can save on all kinds of great goodies, and you can help support Mike in the fight to make America great again and help support this program while you're doing it. MyPillow.com/Justin, mystore.com/Justin. Use promo code Justin. The show starts soon.
On West Michigan's news, weather, and traffic station. Depend on it.
Live from high atop Monroe Center in downtown Grand Rapids, we're talking about what matters most to you in West Michigan. Join the conversation now at 616-774-2424. That's 616-774-2424. It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barkley on Wood Radio.
Yeah, welcome in, folks. It is the start of a hot one this weekend. At least that's what we're hearing. Temps gonna be up there over the next few days. We're gonna keep you updated and give you a speaking of heating up, the news never stops, never slows down, and no cool downs lately, except for one little cool down period of 2 weeks, at least it sounds like. President Trump with that decision about Iran. We'll talk about that and more coming up. It's a free-for-all Friday, too. Stand by. Here we go.
News, weather, and traffic. And the biggest stories of the day. We're talking about what matters most in West Michigan and beyond. This is the Big Three. Now, today's Big Three.
Yeah, the stories that matter most should be talking about these around the water cooler at the dinner table, no matter where you are. The people at Heartland Home Mortgage make it possible. Dave Galloway and the team talk to him about interest rates, the Fed, and housing costs, home availability here in West Michigan, and more beyond. By the way, this week we had that great conversation. You can catch the podcast. We've got it up online, the iHeartRadio app, or wherever you download them. HHMLending.com. Make sure you check them out. They're faster, better than the big banks. Buy, refi, home and equity line of credit, whatever you need.
Number one.
Well, 2 weeks. The president has decided to give Iran time to come to the table. Meanwhile, another missile slipping past the Iron Dome. Israelis tonight continue to target the nuclear program in Iran with jets and missiles, drones, and more strategically.
Regarding the ongoing situation in Iran, I know there has been a lot of speculation amongst all of you in the media regarding the president's decision-making and whether or not the United States will be directly involved. In light of that news, I have a message directly from the president, and I quote, "Based on the fact that there's a substantial chance of negotiations that may or may not take place with Iran in the near future, I will make my decision whether or not to go within the next 2 weeks."
There you have it. More coming out.
Number two.
And in our conversation on the way here, folks, stick by for that. Federal appeals court handing Trump a big win. Lets him keep control over the California National Guard, at least for now, until they see this all through. Another judge had blocked Trump from maintaining control of the troops used to quell those riots in Los Angeles. This one says what he did was okay. At least until they have a chance to see it all the way through, they're going to let him continue on that path. And man, oh man,
Number three.
it's a scorcher. That's what my grandma used to say. Heat waves spanning across the country with some areas in triple digits tomorrow. Into the beginning of next week here in Michigan, we'll see temps in the 90s. It'll be hot. Today, I think 80, we got a chance of some showers, thunderstorm here or there, but we'll keep an eye on it for you to make sure that you're up to date with it all. In the meantime, Free for All Friday. Join the program at any time. You can jump in at 616-774-2424 and the iHeartRadio app. Wherever you download your podcast, make us a preset, not just for radio, of course. Stay up to date with the latest news, weather, and traffic, but this show as well. Justin Barclay. So you can listen and get it like our listeners do. They just get it. Live or archived. The iHeartRadio app. All right. Let's break through some of this. In fact, Kyle Olson will join us on the Midwestern and Midwesterner.news for stories inside the state. Coming up, we got that big story yesterday, that Michigan manufacturer here in Kentwood wanting to spend another $70 million. You say, oh, that's fantastic, in a new factory. Probably biggest issue here, though. That factory will not be here in Michigan. It'll create 300 jobs in Indiana. That conversation's still yet on the way. Dana Nessel rating Whitmer's MEDC while Whitmer's down under. Don't confuse the two. It's an interesting conversation coming up with our good friend Kyle Olson and the folks at the Midwesterner, by the way. So hang in there for that. More on the nukes in Iran. Of course, they continue that process of trying to make one. That at least is what we're hearing. That's what the press secretary is telling us. Press secretary Carolyn Levitt asked that question yesterday inside the briefing room, and here's her response.
When the president said a few weeks away, did he mean obtaining enough enriched uranium to start building a weapon, or did he mean Iran is a few weeks away from completing the production of a weapon?
I'm glad you asked that, Weija. It's an important question, and it's one, frankly, the media has been getting wrong. Let's be very clear. Iran has all that it needs to achieve a nuclear weapon. All they need is a decision from the supreme leader to do that, and it would take a couple of weeks to complete the production of that weapon, which would, of course, pose an existential threat not just to Israel, but to the United States and to the entire world. And that is something that the entire world, including countries like Russia, is in agreement with, that Iran should not and cannot obtain a nuclear weapon. And that's why the president believes that, and he's believed that, again, not just his political career, but frankly, his entire life.
Well, we got Twitter or X post. It was Twitter at the time. Go back to like 2011 where he said that. Now, I will tell you this. There's a lot of question on that. We've been hearing for years that they're going to have a ninja right around the corner from being able to have a nuke. I don't think it's ever been more true. We certainly know they've wanted this. I mean, this is obvious. It's part of the conversation. The question really is the response. And what I think you're seeing play out here with the president, particularly, is expert negotiation tactics, expert gamesmanship. He has really laid it on the line. He said we could destroy you if we need to. He's told the Supreme Leader we know where you are. We will not take you out for now, but we will if we need to. He's gone as far as he needs to go on all of these areas, but then he turns back around and he says, but we want to make a deal. We want Iran to be able to prosper. Now, the question is whether or not see, the people of Iran versus the leadership of Iran is the issue and the difference. The people of Iran, that's what they like too. The long history of this country, obviously Persia, and going back into the last 40, 50 years and beyond, the long storied history and even the involvement with America and how we got to the place where we are today. That's a whole nother piece of this. But the people of Iran would like that. They would like prosperity. They would like to become a peaceful, and I would think the women in Iran would like to be treated well, and all of these things that we enjoy in the Western countries. But the rulers are this sort of extremist religious sect who are kind of bent on destruction and, of course, through that ideology, which I laid out the other day, the Mahdi and all this other stuff that they believe in, they want to see that happen. And so you've got a very sort of tense and very peculiar sort of tightrope that the president has to walk here. I hope he can get it done. You're talking about the man who I believe, just my perspective here, I think he's called for such a time as this to be able to walk through this. It just remains to be seen, though. More from Karoline Leavitt in the press briefing room.
So the president is always interested in a diplomatic solution to the problems and the global conflicts in this world. Again, he is a peacemaker in chief. He is the peace through strength president. And so if there's a chance for diplomacy, the president's always going to grab it. But he's not afraid to use strength as well, I will add.
That's exactly the thread that I'm talking about. That needle that he's trying to walk out there. So what does she say to folks in MAGA and, of course, the rest of the world, the country watching all of this play out? What does she say about all of this? What is her advice from the press briefing room? Karoline Leavitt.
Trust in President Trump. President Trump has incredible instincts, and President Trump kept America and the world safe in his first term as president in implementing a peace through strength foreign policy agenda. And with respect to Iran, nobody should be surprised by the president's position that Iran absolutely cannot obtain a nuclear weapon. He's been unequivocally clear about this for decades, not just as president, not just as a presidential candidate, but also as a private citizen. In fact, I have some quotes for you. In 2011, President Trump said, America's primary goal with Iran must be to destroy its nuclear ambitions. We cannot allow this radical regime to acquire a nuclear weapon that they will either use or hand off to terrorists. In 2015, the president said the problem is that Iran poses an existential threat to Israel, our Middle Eastern allies, and the United States. And of course, the president has repeated that in his first term as president and his second term as president as well. That's why he was adamantly opposed to the disastrous Iranian nuclear agreement that was implemented by President Obama. And it's why he has given great latitude and given a lot of effort to achieving a diplomatic solution. But he's been very clear. Iran went for 60 days when he gave them that 60-day warning without coming to the table. On day 61, Israel took action against Iran. And as I just told you from the president directly, he will make a decision within 2 weeks.
There you have it, folks. And, that's actually a very good point. He said that the other day when we were raising the flag. He said, I told him. I told him. It may be too late. He said, I told you, 60 days. And did they listen? No. Thumbed their nose. But you got to realize, too, they've always had people that would make these veiled threats and that just wouldn't follow through. That's not who we're dealing with here. That's loud and clear. At this point, anyway. It ought to be. It really ought to be. We are in the find out era, folks. We've completely entered it. All right. Free for All Friday. Chance for you to join in the program at any time. It's 616-774-2424. Hey, you got foot pain? Don't guess. Ask a doctor. This Saturday only, Dr. Philip Watkins at the Good Feet store on 28th Street, right across from Costco there. From 11 to 4, you can get a free foot check and expert advice. Walk in wondering and walk out smarter and maybe with some solutions at the Good Feet store. Back after this on West Michigan Live.
Setting the record straight. It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barkley on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM and on demand anytime on the iHeartRadio app.
Here are your headlines from the Midwesterner this Friday, June 20th. I'm Robin Kaufman. It's a Midwesterner.news original story. America First Legal launches an investigation into Michigan State University's use of race in admissions and DEI policies. In other news, Governor Whitmer's administration quietly does away with DEI offices at the Department of Health and Human Services, but simply replaces them with more benign titles. For example, the Office of Race, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion has now been renamed the Office of Culture, Community, Education, and Leadership. And President Trump continues to weigh his options in terms of the next move involving the Iran-Israel escalation. White House spokeswoman Caroline Leavitt says it could be 2 weeks before a final decision is reached. For these stories and more, visit The Midwesterner at themidwesterner.news.
Have you taken a good look at your roof lately? Moss, mold, dark streaks. Those aren't just cosmetic. They're signs your roof is aging. Now, replacing a roof? That's a massive expense. And let's be real, it's not always necessary. That's where my friends at Roof Max of Ada come in. They offer an all-natural treatment that restores your shingles' flexibility and waterproofing, basically giving extra years to your roof by adding at least 5 years or more to the roof and shingles life. They're local, they're honest, and they're not about gimmicks or high-pressure sales. Just straight-up trustworthy advice about what's best for your home. So before you spend tens of thousands on a full roof replacement, call Roof Max of Ada and schedule your free roof inspection today. Tell them Justin sent you. Visit roofsaversmi.com or call 616-393-7710. That's 616-393-7710. Yeah, good morning. Free for All Friday, folks. Appreciate you jumping in with us on the Freedom Fam this morning. We had a great fireside chat last night. Man, oh man, fired up outside. Beautiful day for it. Wonderful weather. Hammy Gritter was there last night. Joe Marie, good to see you. Say hello, Sue, over on the VIP this morning. Just $7 a month to join in if you want. A full year. You get a month free plus a copy of my book signed and sent to you at justinbarclay.com/support. Sign up for locals today. We got a nice, I think it's going to be a really fun time. You'll be able to ask questions today during our podcast recording. We talked to Karen Reed, plus there's more big news we got to share with you about East Palestine, and the latest big announcement came out yesterday. Over on the Rumblers, Schmalzy, good to see you. Go AF, Julianne, such a time as this, Tennisville Outdoors, Gal, and more. The Bookers fired up. Bunny, Jason, Tammy, Krista, good to see you. She'll be with us today in the After Show podcast. It's going to be a lot of fun. Matt, good to see you as well. Jason, Rose, and many others. Jason, don't forget to send me an email, justin@justinbarclay.com, so I can get you your book out to you, brother. You were our winner yesterday. Congratulations. Here we go. Back on the air, folks. Stand by. Yeah, the Karen Reed trial. Actually, that's part of our conversation. This after show podcast this weekend is going to be. I really haven't followed it as much as I probably should have, but our guest has been inundated with it and all in. So that'll be fantastic. Hey, this weekend as well on Sunday, big programming note for you. I can't shake this message. I'm just going to tell you, I can't shake it. I've got it for you this Sunday. At New Chapel, I'll be speaking, giving you a message today at New Chapel this Sunday. And there's 3 services, 8:30, 10, and 11:30. 8:30, 10, and 11:30. It's freedom-focused. It's not political, it's biblical. But I'm telling you, it's a message for such a time as this. And if I never get a chance to meet you in person, or maybe you have, but it's been a while and we need to catch up. Love to see you there this weekend. New Chapel is on 4 Mile, just off of Alpine there. And again, Sunday, 3 services, 8:30, 10, and 11:30. And the message that, again, I just can't shake it. Love to invite you out. I may even have a special gift for you when you stop in. I'd love to see you there this Sunday at New Chapel on Alpine. All right, let me grab the phone lines real quickly. We got some calls coming in at 616-774-2424. Paul, I believe. Is Paul on the line?
Yes. Good morning, Justin. How you doing?
Appreciate it, Paul. Welcome in.
Well, what I had was a possible suggestion for Donald Trump in handling the Iran-Israeli situation. During the Second World War, we had what was called the Lend-Lease program to the British, where we would give them and lease them military weapons and the like. And I'm thinking, well, gee, why doesn't Donald Trump just rent or lease a B-2 bomber to the Israelis? We can paint the Star of David on the side of it, and they can buy whatever bombs that they need, do what they need to do, and then land the thing at Tel Aviv so that the rest of the world knows that the Israelis were the ones that did the bombing, not us. And we were just following historical precedents. And that's my 2 cents.
That's an interesting thought, and one of, I think, maybe the technicalities of which they may want to and be able to work around. Paul, it's a fantastic. One of the reasons I think they're waiting is the question of whether or not this bunker buster bomb, right, would actually work and get through that mountain. That's what I think. They still don't know some of that, and I think that's part of the issue. And that's a good question.
Well, actually, there's with the current T2 bomb, they use 2 of them. They do one, blast a hole, and then they take a second one to blast the hole even deeper. So they can go down over, theoretically, about, 90 meters? I mean, it's a ridiculous depth that these things can go to, just FYI.
Through a mountain. All right. Well, Paul, I appreciate the call. Thank you, my friend.
Take care. Enjoy the show. Thank you. Bye.
Appreciate it. Yes, sir. I don't know that we have completely the answer. I know that we can do lots of things. And we can do lots of things that we don't even know about. You and I haven't even been told about. But I think one of the things that we got to make sure is that we want to do those things. And I think more than anything, more than even doing the things that we can do, but I think President Trump wants more than anything is he wants a deal, because he's a deal maker. Blessed are, well, not the deal makers, but blessed are the peacemakers. And I think he'd like a chance to get that done too. But it's this whole thing, threading this needle, making sure that I will tell you, folks, continue to pray. because we are in some very, very interesting times. Never a dull moment, that's for sure. Back after this, checking our bottom of the hour news on West Michigan Live. It's News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM. Men, you matter. That's right. We need you in the fight. Best husbands, the best fathers. In fact, we just celebrated Father's Day. We need you now more than ever. And if you just don't feel like you got the edge that you used to have, maybe your energy, your strength, the drive, it's all fading, it may not be your fault. You know, your body's trying to tell you something. Your testosterone levels may be dropping. They drop in every generation. In normal ranges, they lie. That's why over 20,000 men have come to Mentality, because normal doesn't build legacies. But we need you to do just that. Become the man you used to be. Live longer. Yep, you've been looking for a sign, maybe waiting for it. This is it. Nothing's going to change unless you do. Go to mentalityhealth.com/radio. That's mentalityhealth.com/radio and take your life back. But do it. Don't wait. Do it today.
Record straight. It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barkley on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM and on demand anytime on the iHeartRadio app. Our iHeartRadio music.
Okie dokie. Good calls. We got lots of stuff going on today. 200 feet of steel, reinforced concrete buried under a mountain. Our generals really do think the bunker buster would effectively destroy the nuke lab. Well, it's a possibility. I don't doubt that we have capabilities that we are proud of, right? And I don't doubt that we have capabilities that we're not even maybe necessarily sure of altogether. But I know this. More than anything else, I know that President Trump would like, because I know they can get the Ayatollah, unless he's under that mountain too. But I know they know where he is, and they say that they think they can get him. But above and beyond all that, this is a president who doesn't want any more death. He doesn't want any more people to die or to suffer. But he also doesn't want Iran to have a nuke, because he knows ultimately that would cause much more suffering, much more death.
And good morning. It is 9:30.
All right, our news is on and rolling. So that's part of the conversation. I can tell you, I'm continuing to pray. I think we all ought to for President Trump. Just let Israel take them out, whatever it takes. Enough already. Oh, Panda, I'm so sorry to hear that. Panda says, lost mom this morning at 95. Send her prayers for her send-off. I am so sorry to hear that, Panda. My wife's grandmother just turned 98. Those folks are treasures. We absolutely will be praying for her, but what was her name? Can you tell us? And we'll be praying for her, but we're also going to be praying for you all for peace and comfort as you walk through that time, even though, look, we know they're in a better place. It's just tough. It's tough on us, especially if they knew the Lord. If they knew the Lord, then you know what you know, and it should be a celebration. But it just doesn't make it easy. It doesn't make it easy on us, you know. All right, hang on 1 second. I gotta make sure we got our next guest on the line today. We're producerless, so we gotta make sure I can pull the guest up. Stand by, folks. Stand by. You know what you can do while I do just this? Hang on 1 second. Tom Homan. I got some Tom Homan clip for you. 30 seconds of Tom Homan. The border czar. I was like, 30 seconds isn't really enough. Be honest with you, I can't get enough of Tom Homan.
I can say we're enforcing immigration law every day. We got over 1,000 teams on the streets every day across this country. And right now we're concentrating on sanctuary cities, so that's where the problem is. They knowingly release public safety threats, illegal aliens to the community every day. So that's why we're sending more resources to sanctuary cities. We don't have that problem like in the state of Florida, where most of the county sheriffs accept our detainers and they give us the, and when they're done with them. So we got to concentrate where we know they're being released in the street. So that's why we're sending more resources, sanctuary cities, to take the public safety threats off the street. I can say.
Now, what do you think about Tom Holman's new look here, by the way? New sheriff in town. He's got that beard going. Got a little scruff happening. Hey, by the way, when we went to the White House, let me show you some things that might be kind of interesting for you. This building right behind Tom here, this little guard, this is a guard shack. There's a gate right behind it. You go through that gate, comes off of Pennsylvania Avenue back here. You go through that gate, right? And then you walk in through another door on the other side of this building, go through the metal detectors and all that in here. First, you got to talk to a guard at the window. It takes your credentials, your identification, sees if you're on the list. Okay, come on through. So you come through here. You walk through this area. There's, like I said, metal detectors. Kind of like you're at the airport. You know, I know they got some. They don't have all well, they may have some screening machines, but most of it was X-ray stuff. So you walk through that. Everything's on a conveyor belt sort of thing. And then you walk out these doors, and then this little road leads to the Oval, the West Wing, leads to that area. And all of this stuff behind his shoulder back here, these are all the media tents. So, like, you know, when you watch, like, Fox News and Peter Ducey's doing his stand-up shot out there, and they're talking right in front of the White House, so you got that view and whatnot. That's what you're watching. You're watching folks stand out under those tents and tell you what's going on here. So I just thought that was kind of interesting. I'm looking at this video where they take a lot of the news and press stuff is done right on this little walkway. It's a road. Essentially, it is a road. They can drive through here if they need to, but that's what this is. Now, we took a picture over here on our way in, too. It was kind of fun. It was a fun trip to the White House. And you never know, we might go back. They're constantly doing stuff there, and that's always fun. All right. Let me make sure we get this shared out and ready to go. Speaking of sharing today, hey, if you haven't already done so, click share on the program. Make sure you get the word out. Help us break the algorithm. Facebook especially. We really need your help. If you're in a bunch of Facebook groups, share this story, the news, out today over on Facebook. Share this program out into those Facebook, because you could share in more than one place, especially if you're on Facebook. So that helps us break the algorithm. More people will get drawn into this and be able to see it. So we really appreciate you doing just that and helping us break the algorithm. Repost it over on X and on Rumble. You can help repost there as well. In the meantime, smash the thumbs up, the like buttons. Help us with that as well. It does. It makes a big difference. Jason was our winner yesterday of the book. Today, we'll pick another winner, and today's going to get a signed copy of my book as well. Hang on. Here we go.
Wood Radio.
Back after it, folks. Lots happening around the world and beyond, but right here, back in our own backyard here in Michigan, never a dull moment as well. Even though Whitmer may be down under, good day, mate, putting a few shrimp on the bobby, we got business. We got business to attend to. I don't know how many trips she's been on, these foreign trips. It is something. And again, what is she looking to accomplish down in Australia? Meanwhile, we have got serious business to get to here. Kyle Olson from the Midwestern, the Midwesterner.news, joining us now. Kyle, appreciate you being here with us today.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
So help me understand this. What is she trying to drum up some business? Because here's the business that I got problems with. This is really what it is. It's her policies that are the real issue. And what I mean by that is we got all of this manufacturing, reshoring, and expanding here in the country right now, thanks to President Trump and his policies. By the way, his approval rating, Trafalgar Group's got it, just came out for June. 53.7% approve of his job as president. He's still in the positive. No matter how much mainstream media wants to hammer at him on a daily basis. People still happy, particularly probably with the border initiatives. The fact that we had zero, we had this number yesterday. We talked about zero returned, right? Set free, set loose inside the country, as opposed to the thousands that Biden had the year before yesterday. So these are big numbers, big stories. He's bringing people in. They've heard everything we've heard about the tariffs, but he's bringing work and manufacturing back. And he's also, this is trickling down. They say this trickled down. This doesn't happen. Well, it's trickling down. We see that blue-collar wage growth has just shot through the roof. We had that story earlier this week as well. These are all big stories. But the thing that concerns me the most, and I talked about this with Speaker Matt Hall the other day, and again, I just can't help but keep coming back to it. She's down under in Australia trying to shake the trees for, I don't know, whatever it is that they have down in Australia, shrimp on the barbie or whatever else. But back at home, we got problems. There's this story that you all had yesterday. And it's to me, just look at this and you go, I can't believe it. We got a plant that wants to invest $70 million in a new factory, create 300 new jobs, but they won't do it in Michigan. They're going to Indiana. And it's a company that's right here in Kentwood. It's just boggles my mind, floors me.
Yeah, I think that Gretchen Whitmer goes to Australia, to the United Kingdom, to Japan, to the Middle East, because they don't understand. I think that the people around the world don't understand the intricacies of the Michigan economy and the terrible conditions that she's created. And she's going to try and throw, corporate welfare around, trying to lure companies. But what's interesting to me is she's not going to Ohio. She's not going to Indiana. She's not even going to Illinois, which is a worse state than Michigan. She's going to other countries. And I think it's really what's going on is she's going and she's getting pictures and she's getting video, and she's trying to build this sort of foreign policy resume as a reason why she should run for president. And she's doing it at our expense. She is wasting time going around to all of these countries when she should be fixing the Michigan economy. She should be going to certainly neighboring states, but other states as well, trying to lure businesses here. But she's not doing that.
Well, her resume, I think, speaks much louder than any of those PR photo ops that she might be trying to get. And hopefully folks throughout the country will see that as well. I mean, we got this announcement for Ford, the $4 billion. That's a beautiful thing, right? But I just wonder how much we're missing out on when it comes to some of the other major manufacturers that have announced plants and expansion in other places throughout the country. To me, I just hate to see Michigan missing out.
Yeah, well, and I think what we're seeing right now is manufacturers like Ford, like GM, but others are saying we're going to bring business back to America because of the tariffs. It will be cheaper to do production in America than it will be to be in Mexico or somewhere else or Canada, and then bring those products, pay the tariffs and bring those products in. And so I think it's pretty clear that President Trump's tariff strategy, is working. Now, the Democrats have been crying about that. Gretchen Whitmer was wringing her hands about what that was going to do. But she was very quick to take credit for the jobs that GM announced. And so on the one hand, she was attacking the tariffs, but GM was pretty clear that they're moving the production back to America because of the tariffs. And so she's claiming credit for the production moving back. And so she's trying to have it both ways. But I think a lot of people see through that. And so what I think one of maybe the most stunning story this week, and maybe of the month or the year, is that while Gretchen Whitmer is in Australia with executives from the MEDC, the Michigan Economic Development Corporation, Dana Nessel, also a Democrat, raids the MEDC for documents and also raids the home of Faye Beydoun, who is a Democrat donor and was an appointee by Gretchen Whitmer to the MEDC board. And she's the one that in one of the recent budgets got a $20 million earmark to create a business. And they allocated the money, and then she created the business. And Dana Nessel, the Attorney General, actually raided the MEDC. I don't think the significance of this can be understated. And it was while the MEDC was halfway across the world with the governor.
Well, what do you think is going on there? What's the end game for Nessel?
Well, I think this is one of those earmarks that got a lot of attention, and it's interesting because the woman who got the earmark is so closely tied to the Democratic Party, to all these individuals involved, and there was a lot of coverage about some of the ways that she spent money. She spent $4,500 on a coffee maker. She spent $11,000 on tickets to Budapest. She spent $40,000 on office furniture, et cetera. And that got a lot of attention. But, of course, the bigger question is, okay, she got $20 million. Where did that go? What are her results? And this is really one of the fundamental problems of the way Lansing operates, is up until the latest budget and what Matt Hall is doing and the way he's changed earmarks, and we need to see how that's still going to play out because the budget's not yet completed. But up to this point, it was just a free-for-all. And the state legislators would just give millions and millions of dollars to these companies, and then everybody would just move on. There was no accountability. There was no, why don't you send us a report in the next year and tell us how you spent this money? There wasn't any of that. And so things are changing under Matt Hall's leadership. Again, there's not a budget that's really been hashed out yet, so we've got to see how that's going to play out. But this sort of thing is not. It seems to be coming to an end, and it needs to.
Yeah, I will tell you, all of this that's happening, and I think maybe we're coming to the end of the line here on this. You got to wonder, what's Nessel's next move? Where does she go after she's the attorney general? She clearly is not going to be able to run for anything. Her political career is over. I think you could argue Whitmer's is over, although I don't think she's realized that yet. And Benson wants to step up into the next ring, oversee her own election with all the questions and the chaos that surround her position as a Secretary of State. It really is a wild time here in Michigan, and you're watching all of this happen. It's like I said, never a dull moment. But you know who really hurts in the long term is the people of Michigan. Somebody just said in the chat, by the way, I can't believe you're surprised by this. Businesses leaving the state. I said, not surprised. I'm saddened by it. That's the thing that makes me, I think, the most upset, is that it is wiping out again the middle class, the people who built this country. Really, this state put the world on wheels, right? And we've got the opportunity, we got the ability to be a part of the next golden age, right? We got the ability to be a part of this, the opportunity here, but it's being squandered by these folks who are trying to sell us out and down the river. And again, this just goes to show elections have consequences. And just as consequential as I believe the 2024 election was for not just the nation, but the entire world, I think the same could be said for Michigan in 2026. This is make or break with this next election here in Michigan. We have the opportunity. We're at a crossroads. Can we get the state back on track, or is it lost?
Well, that remains to be seen. But I don't know. You asked about Dana Nessel. I don't know what her end strategy is. She's not running for governor. She's not running for Senate. I don't know if she's got something else in mind, or she wants an appointment, or I don't know. Jocelyn Benson, obviously, you and I have talked about her at length. I think that Jocelyn Benson is infinitely worse than Gretchen Whitmer. I think Gretchen Whitmer, it was just sort of her career path to run for governor, and the Lansing establishment was behind her, and she won. Jocelyn Benson is a very different person. And I think Jocelyn Benson knows much better than Gretchen Whitmer how to weaponize government. And if she has control over the entire state bureaucracy, the MEDC, the Eagle, and all of the other state police, all of the other agencies, it will be a disaster for Michigan.
Well,
so people need to realize that, yes, I think you're right. 2026 is a major, major year.
Yeah, and I think it goes also to the point of what you're making about Benson and her background, how she came up, the Soros ties, and what that looks like. I mean, you talk about radical, what she wants to do. If you thought Whitmer was bad, she's just a walk in the park. When you talk about the background of Benson and really essentially what she wants to pull off in the days ahead, folks, I really don't think it's possible to overstate it here. Hey, let me ask you one other question. When are we going to get that special election? We've got an entire district, entire area. I noted that Nessel was out at these No King's Day protests that kind of flopped over the weekend. She was out at a couple. In fact, in that area where these people are not being represented right now, taxation without representation in that area where they should be holding that special election for the Senate. And Whitmer's just dragging her feet. She's down in Australia. What does she care? When are we going to get one? Or are we going to get one?
Well, that's a very good question, and it wouldn't surprise me if she calls it next year in 2026. And so you could basically have two campaigns working almost simultaneously. And I think it's shameful what she's doing. There is a 19-18 Democrat majority in the state Senate, and clearly, I don't think there's any other explanation other than she's afraid the Democrats will lose that election, and if they do, it's a 19-19 tie, and then she really can't get anything done. And so she's just not calling the election. Now, Garland Gilchrist, the lieutenant governor, has come out and said there should be an election. Dana Nessel has said the same. Garland Gilchrist, when Gretchen Whitmer is out of the state, Garland Gilchrist, the lieutenant governor, is the acting governor.
He could call it right now.
The power of the governor. He could call it right now. And he was asked about that, and he stood down. He shrunk from the opportunity.
And I guess he's just disqualified himself from being a leader. If you can't lead in the tough moments, Gar, why do you think we're going to give you the job when it comes to full on in 2026? I mean, you're going to stand in Whitmer's shadow, or you're going to stand up and be a man? And I guess the answer is clear.
Yep, I think we found that out this week, and so I don't know what Democrat voters would find compelling about him when he's not willing to be a leader, but the voters in Midland and Bay and that area. Don't have leadership. Saginaw County as well. They don't have leadership or in the state Senate and representation, and it's a shame.
Kyle Olson, the Midwesterner, the Midwesterner.news. Always a pleasure. You can get all the news, all the updates about what's happening around the state and beyond. Don't just bookmark it. Sure, do that while you're there at the Midwesterner.news, but put your email in so you can stay up to date. Always a pleasure, my friend. Thank you so much for being here with us, as always.
Happy to. Thanks.
You got it. Kyle Olson. Don't miss a minute. Live or archive, you get the latest at JustinBarkley.com, the iHeartRadio app as well. Download it. Let it rip. We appreciate you taking the time to be here with us today. Thank you, folks. As we full speed ahead into the weekend, and the fastest hour in radio is flying on by. We're back with you, a chance to weigh in as well, right here on West Michigan Live. Hey, a reminder this weekend, you got foot pain? You can get answers this Saturday. Get relief for your feet. 11 to 4. Dr. Philip Watkins from Shoreline Orthopedics is at the Good Feet store on 28th Street, giving you free foot and ankle evaluations. I got help with a Good Feet store, and you can too. This weekend, you'll get a free foot evaluation, an ankle evaluation. Fast Street, 1 day only. Saturday, 11 to 4, the Good Feet store there on 28th Street, right next to Costco.
Asking the tough questions. It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barkley on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
Here are your headlines from the Midwesterner this Friday, June 20th. I'm Robin Poffman. We begin with a Midwesterner.news original story. Democrat Governor Whitmer up to her old tricks. Her administration quietly does away with DEI offices at the Department of Health and Human Services, but simply replaces them with more benign titles. For example, the Office of Race, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion is now being called the Office of Culture, Community, Education, and Leadership. Same department, different title. In other news, America First Legal launches an investigation into Michigan State University's use of race in admissions and DEI policies. At the White House,
It is a fact, and the United States government maintains this fact, that Iran has never been closer to obtaining a nuclear weapon.
That's White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt. As President Trump continues to weigh his options in terms of the next move involving the Iran-Israel conflict, Leavitt telling reporters President Trump says it could be days before a final decision is made.
Based on the fact that there's a substantial chance of negotiations that may or may not take place with Iran in the near future, I will make my decision whether or not to go within the next 2 weeks.
For these stories and more, visit The Midwesterner at themidwesterner.news.
All right, let's happen in the fastest hour on radio is rolling through. Is Ryan Kelly running for governor? Do you think? Sharon, we're going to ask him that. We were set to ask him that yesterday. In fact, had a podcast lined up with Ryan, but then we had right outside this window here, about 10 stories up, massive construction noise. We've got it rescheduled for next Tuesday at 11. We'll ask that question and talk to him about all those things that he's been through January 6th and the rest of it, because there's so much to discuss. That's happening next Tuesday. Today, we have a conversation. Kristen Maggie Kelly's going to join us talking about Karen Read. Now, if you have not been paying attention to the Karen Read trial, I just have a surface level knowledge of this thing, but it really is something in a number of different ways. What happened in this trial, I think you're going to really enjoy hearing the conversation that we have coming up about 10:30 is then we're going to record the podcast. If you can't listen live, that's fine. You can always go and listen to the podcast this weekend. In the meantime, if you're a member, a VIP member over on Locals, get in. Ask your questions. If you haven't joined just yet, justinbarclay.com/support to get in. Panda's mom's name is Alice. If everyone would join us in prayers for Panda's family and for Alice today, she was 95 when she passed. This morning, praying for that family. Absolutely. I've got some great stuff coming up in the after show too. I'm going to try and make sure that we squeeze in. There's a few pieces of good news that I think ought to be mentioned today. So we'll get to that as well. There's a guy, smartest guy in the world. I mean, he has a verified I want to say a verified IQ of 240 something, 260 something, whatever it is. He's a genius. And just a brilliant guy. And he goes on to talk about how he, the smartest man in the world, understands and sees through logic and everything else the proof of Jesus being King, Messiah, Lord. And I'm blown away. You see stories like this every day now. The Lord is moving. He is really working, and I can't wait. Matter of fact, we got this weekend. We're going to be having a fantastic time at New Chapel, as I just mentioned. Let me give it a plug before we get off the air here too, and then we'll get into our after show, folks. Stand by. Here we go.
Attorneys. Visit Autolaw.com.
That's Autolaw.com.
Rolling fast and furious into the weekend. The after show is rolling up in just moments. JustinBarkley.com, the iHeartRadio app, wherever you download your podcast. Just a quick reminder, this weekend, Sunday, 3 services, 8:30, 10, and 11:30 at New Chapel. That's 4 Mile, right there off of Alpine, newchapel.com. I've got a message for you. They've asked me to speak, and I got something that you just can't shake it. A message that's on my heart for you. It's not just political, it's biblical. It's all about freedom, and like I said, I just can't wait. So until Monday, folks, we're back and better, unless I see you this weekend. Love to, as a matter of fact. We appreciate you. We leave you with this prayer. Make it a great one, and God bless.
Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses. We forgive those that trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and power, and glory, forever and ever. Amen. Amen.
WOOT Grand Rapids. WOOT.
All right, folks. We're rolling right along. Somebody asked about Jocelyn Benson. Why can't something be done? Well, I'll tell you. It's a very simple response. Who would do it? Out of all these times she's broken the law, et cetera, who would do it? Be Dana Nessel. Do you think Dana Nessel's going to do it? Now, there's another opportunity. There's another option I'll give you. With the Trump administration in charge of the Justice Department, there is a chance that she could see justice from the federal level coming her way. By the way, that might be why she's taking the steps to hold the Democrat Party, the MEDC, et cetera, in account for everything that's going on behind the scenes. She might be trying to head them off at the pass. We didn't get that. We didn't get to that in our conversation, but that is also very likely a part of it, especially as she knows her time is running out in power. Just a thought. Hey, let's get this after show kicking. Are you folks ready? Let's do it.
Get ready to strap in. It's going to be a heck of a ride. It's like drinking from a fire hose. Never a dull moment, but yes, you'll hear the stories you won't hear anywhere else, and we appreciate you being here with us for them today. I'm Justin Barkley.
Welcome into the after show. After the show, folks, we always have such a great time with you. Never a dull moment. We never have enough time to really get it all in, but we're going to do our best. We're going to talk about all the big wins that are happening because there's so many. You need a little hope. You need a little encouragement for the weekend. I'm going to get to it, plus clips you haven't missed it. And today at 10:30, we'll do a little bit of a shorten maybe after show. Today at 10:30, we'll go live over on Locals and record our podcast for the weekend. It's all about the Karen Reed Tribe. There's big news. And I can't believe I didn't mention this on the air. Just didn't have enough time for it all. But like I said, I'm going to talk about some of those stories that you just haven't heard yet. And it was a big announcement. A massive announcement that was made yesterday by J.D. Vance, Vice President Vance, RFK Jr., and Dr. Jay Bhattacharya, the NIH director, about East Palestine. And finally, the folks, they're finally getting the help that they need. And it is, I'm telling you, it is massive. This is a big story, one that our guests will talk about, too, on the podcast as well. But first, want to thank Mike Lindell for all of his willingness to fight. MyPillow.com/Justin, MyStore.com/Justin. You can save all kinds of great money. I believe they still have the no shipping special going on right now, but all kinds of great products inside my store. USA products. Mega sell on their towels, their sheets right now, their pillows, and everything at MyPillow.com/store, MyStore.com/Justin as well. Use promo code Justin. Either way, we get credit. Mike gets credit. You can support the both of us at the same time. That's what we got to do. We got to stand together in this fight. If you're in the market for a mattress, get one from Mike. It's a great way to do it. They have fantastic, all kinds of great things. Fantastic mattresses. And I don't know, I haven't tried them yet, but I hear their energy drinks are wonderful. Now, I might have to catch it. New Rev 7 is what they call. You get your free 3-pack of Rev 7 as well at MyPillow.com/Justin. Justin. Kristi Noem is going to be in Detroit today, actually. She's doing an event there. Good point, buddy. I'm not sure what the event was, but I did see that earlier this week. That was something, wasn't it? Coming to Detroit, I'm sure they'll be out protesting her and all the rest of it. There's a wild, wacky leftist like to do. People should be jailed for what they did. Vice President Vance, Secretary Kennedy, and NIH Director Jay Bhattacharya will study the long-term health effects of the chemical spill in East Palestine. They're in Ohio. Here's the video from yesterday.
Hey guys, Vice President J.D. Vance here, and I want to take you back to something that happened early on when I was a United States Senator. There was a terrible train crash, and then there was a controlled burn of toxic chemicals that went into the atmosphere in East Palestine, Ohio, a little town in the northeastern corner of the state of Ohio. What happened then is that people got very worried, and I've been to East Palestine a number of times, and they're very worried about what are the long-term impacts of these chemicals in the water, in the air. What effect does it have on their kids and grandkids after 5 years, 10 years, 15 years of exposure? And the crazy thing is, number one, we didn't have a good answer to that question. Science had never actually tried to understand what the long-term exposure of these trace chemicals would do to people. And the second crazy thing is that as much as I tried as a United States Senator to work with the Biden administration, they refused to do anything to actually study the effects of these long-term exposures on the people of East Palestine. Well, now we have a new president and a great new Secretary of Health and Human Services, and he's got an incredible announcement. We're finally going to study the effects on these chemicals and finally get to the bottom of what effect this terrible train crash and the ensuing consequences had on the people of East Palestine.
I want to start by thanking my friend, Vice President J.D. Vance, for his continued and persistent interest in this issue, which many Americans have already forgotten. On February 3rd, 2023, a Norfolk Southern freight derailed in East Palestine, Ohio. The wreck involved 38 cars carrying hazardous chemicals, which ignited and then spread in these prolonged fires. East Palestine community members immediately began experiencing a range of initial health symptoms, including headaches and respiratory and skin and eye irritations, prompting concerns about the broader long-term impacts on maternal and child health. At the urging of Vice President, the National Institute of Health, under my direction, has launched a 5-year, $10 million research initiative to address health outcomes stemming from this calamity. This is the first large-scale, coordinated, multi-year federal study focused specifically on the long-term health impacts of the East Palestine disaster. The program will support robust, community-engaged epidemiological research to understand the impacts of exposures on short and long-term injuries. It will also support public health tracking and surveillance of the community's health conditions to help us make informed health care choices and take appropriate preventative measures. I want to thank Vice President Vance for not forgetting about the people of East Palestine, for making this an important issue, and for allowing us to launch this important initiative.
This is a big announcement, guys. I'm very, very excited about it.
I am absolutely delighted to make this announcement today, and I want to thank Vice President Vance and Secretary Kennedy for staying on this issue. The purpose and goal of the NIH, the mission, is to advance the health and well-being of the American people, and this is a concrete way that we're going to do that. The NIH is working to ensure that the people of East Palestine and the surrounding communities are listened to, cared for, and they get the answers they deserve.
By the way, people want to see jail time. That's correct out of this. We're going to talk about this. A little bit later on in that podcast. You may remember Kristen was there. She's boots on the ground doing that research, doing the digging to find out what was really going on there. When the Biden administration wants you to just forget about it. So this is great news, particularly for those people who have been sort of left in the lurch on all of it. More big news, folks. Look at this. Trump calls for special prosecutor in the investigation on the 2020 election. Special prosecutor. We knew it was coming. We're finally starting to get it. President Donald Trump on Friday on Truth Social posting this message. 0 border crossings for the month for month of, I believe it was May, right? Versus 60,000 for Sleepy Crooked Joe, a man who lost the 2020 presidential election by a landslide. Biden was grossly incompetent, and the 2020 election was a total fraud. The evidence is massive and overwhelming. A special prosecutor must be appointed. This cannot be allowed to happen again in the United States of America. Let's let the work begin. What this crooked man and his corrupt cronies have done to our country in 4 years is grossly indescribable. Make America great again. In some ways, I'm glad that our conversation with Ryan Kelly didn't happen yesterday. In fact, we'll be able to talk about this next Tuesday when we have our conversation, because I told him, I said, what's interesting is now we're starting to find out that the reason that you all were there, which is, hey, we got questions about what happened in this election. The reason you were all there to demand that those grievances be answered, right? To air them out like the Constitution allows. The reason that you were all there, we're now starting to find out the FBI's confirmed that China was trying to print ballots. China was trying to print IDs to get people registered to vote. As a matter of fact, we know now that China, or one student at least, how many others we don't know, but one from China voted in the 2024 election here in Michigan.
China.
Then he hopped on a plane after they let him go and flew on back. Got on a plane, flew on back to
China.
So this is a massive story, and one that, folks, ought not be overlooked. I'm glad to hear it. The left is going to melt down in epic levels in ways that you've never seen before, but it needs to happen. Have you seen what took place? I think this was yesterday. Testimony on the auto pen and what took place during the Biden administration. We obviously know that he was not all there. We know that he was installed like a toilet. We know that he wasn't all there when he was in office, and there were so many that were making the decisions behind the scene. Whenever something was needed, well, the auto pen was brought out, and he may not have even known. Listen to testimony yesterday from Theodore Wold on the subject of the auto pen. This is the find out era, folks. We have fully entered it.
When the president signs, he communicates his assent and endorsement of the action he takes. The auto pen is a device that signs the president's signature to a document. The Oversight Project, of which I am a board member, has discovered that the Biden White House deployed an auto pen to affix President Biden's signature to pardons, prison commutations, executive orders, and presidential proclamations. The Oversight Project's research has found that the Biden White House first deployed the auto pen to affix President Biden's signature to a proclamation on day 5 of his administration, and that there were at least 3 different auto pen signatures in use throughout President Biden's tenure in the White House. In June 2022, the Biden White House began deploying the auto pen to sign clemency warrants and executive orders. Auto pen use skyrocketed from there. We found that of the 51 clemency warrants issued during the Biden presidency, over half, 32 in total, were signed with an auto pen. And these include some of the most controversial acts of clemency of the Biden presidency, including death row commutations and the preemptive pardons of members of the Biden family, Dr. Anthony Fauci, General Mark Milley, and more that were issued in the final days of the Biden presidency. We reviewed President Biden's schedule and his publicly available media and were unable to find any record of President Biden's personally approving these actions, such as a statement issued by the president himself to reporters. In addition, we found that the Biden White House used the auto pen to affix President Biden's signature to clemency warrants and executive orders while the president himself was in Washington, D.C. for at least some of that day, and thus was presumably available to sign important executive actions. Finally, we found multiple days where President Biden wet signed a bill into law, but used an auto pen to issue an executive order or for other important executive actions. The Biden White House's widespread use of an auto pen to affix President Biden's signatures to documents that exercise executive powers belonging solely to the president poses significant constitutional, legal, and practical considerations. Once the president's signature is copied and loaded into the auto pen, the machine can sign documents as the president himself would. To be blunt, by using the auto pen, anyone can sign documents as the president himself. Now, to be clear, I'm not here today to suggest that the auto pin is bad. It's just technology. I'm here today because of questions concerning President Biden's capacity and whether the auto pin was used to usurp presidential power or to conceal the president's decline. As the sitting president's mental acuity declined, potentially to the point of incapacitation, his administration's expansion of the powers of the presidency raises more questions than answers. Any investigation into this matter should focus not only on whether President Biden directed or authorized subordinate staff to take action in certain instances, but whether he had the capacity to do so at all.
Folks, we've entered the find out era. There's been lots of fooling around the last 4 years, and that's high time that we all find out. And I think you're going to get there sooner than later. More craziness from the folks on the left, and some of them making sense, which has been wild to watch over the last few days. Plus, we got good news stories that I can't wait to get to. That's all coming up in just moments. But first, this. Thank you for being here with us. We appreciate you being a part of this program and your support.
I got good news and bad news. The good news is it's a deal and a steal for you. The bad news is I missed out. Well, I just bought a bunch of bedding. I just bought a bunch of new pillows and sheets and things from Mike Lindell at MyPillow, and I didn't get this good of a deal. For a limited time, Mike is selling his pillows, the classic, $14.88. That's it. The MyPillow, the thing that started it all, just $14.88. He had one of these big box stores that canceled on him. You know how they do. Well, this is actually your win. It's a win for everyone. A win for Mike because he can unload the pillows at a great price. It's a win for you because you get a good deal, and you can help support this program at the same time. Get your pillows for $14.88 when you go to mypillow.com/Justin. Use code Justin at checkout. That's mypillow.com/Justin. And while you're there, shop for all kinds of great things. I love the towels. The best towels I've ever used in my entire life because Mike's got all kinds of great goodies at mypillow.com/Justin. Do it today. All right, I got to caution you because I love you. By the way, this is why. I got a lot of negative Nancy's, some Chicken Little sky is falling folks that sometimes make. I get it. I understand Black Pill. I get all of this stuff. I understand you. So much you've been up against for so many years. It's been a thing. It's been a problem. It's been an issue all of this time. I get it. Did you see all these things are coming to light? Nothing ever gets done. I can't say whether it will or won't, but here's why I think things are different. President Trump is asking for a special counsel. The DOJ puts together a special counsel. Now they got teeth to go in and get these people. So you're saying, I want to see Fauci in handcuffs. I want to see the Clintons. I want to see all these people in handcuffs. I get it. But just as much, and probably if not worse, you have the low-level sort of individuals who are involved in the auto pin mess, right? So think about this. All of those people in the White House that are going to get wrapped up into this special count, it's a DOJ, folks. You remember how many people got arrested when they came after special counsel, came after Trump, and they started working the investigations? That's what we're talking about here. So I wouldn't be so quick to say nothing's going to happen. I understand that's the reflex. I understand that's how you feel. But I would be more apt to just really direct that attention and that focus and say, God, I hope something does happen. Pray for accountability. That this country does see that. Fauci, Benny Thompson, Liz Cheney, the J6 committee, right? Adam Schiff, Pete Aguilar, Zoe Lofgren, Jamie Raskin, Adam Kinzinger. Many, many, many more. How many others? So this is it. I know you're tired, but the Lord is not, and neither is Trump. So I don't know if it's all the Diet Coke or something. It's a little more miraculous or whatnot, but just hang in there because, like I said, this is just the beginning. Yeah, I'm telling you. Alcatraz has room for all of them. I don't know if it has enough room for all of them. I don't know if Gitmo has enough room for all of them, honestly. But, folks, we'll make room. Trust me. We will make the room if needed.
HHS Secretary yesterday also in sort of a Runner Report good news piece announcing that the U.S. FDA, RFK says, has announced to phase out petroleum-based synthetic dyes from the nation's food supply. Kraft Heinz, the latest to come around for that. I think I saw Sam's Club was going to do the same with theirs. The voluntary step, phasing out harmful dyes in brands like Kool-Aid, Jell-O, Crystal Light, all proves that when the government sets clear science-based standards, the food industry listens, he says, and acts. I urge more companies to follow this lead and put the well-being of American families first. Today and together, we will make America healthy again. Big news, good news. Don't overlook it. Just say nothing would happen. Well, look, it's happening. There are things happening right now. A piece of good news, right? This is hard to explain, but the man is brilliant, the smartest man in the world, the man with the world's highest IQ, 276. I thought it's 240, 260, or it's 276. Now just imagine that, right? Like genius level is like 160. The man with the highest IQ, 276, a man by the name of Young-Hoon Kim from South Korea, pointing to quantum physics to support his belief in God and the afterlife. It's really fascinating. Now, you wrap your head around some of this. I don't know that I need, logic. I've got faith, but this really is wild to watch. Folks, take a listen to what he says.
In this video, I would like to share my idea, my thoughts about afterlife. I think our consciousness continues beyond death, definitely. Our consciousness is not just brain activity, but it is something deeper. I think you believe this. Science says that when the brain stops, then our consciousness disappears. You believe this now, but quantum physics says that information never disappears. Never. It only changes in forms. If our consciousness is quantum information, it may continue after the body is gone. For example, like computer data stored in the cloud, our consciousness may not be trapped in the brain. Quantum entanglement suggests that our consciousness is part of a bigger system beyond the physical world. Some scientists and...
I don't know that I'm smart enough to understand this guy. I don't know. I really don't. But I'll tell you, I get the faith to understand and believe. And by the way, faith the size of a mustard seed is all you need to move mountains. He goes on to say, I believe that Jesus Christ is God, the way, the truth, and the life. And he describes it in really, I think, a fascinating way. But it is for some of us, over our heads, right? But his perspective kind of really it aligns with a growing body of research, folks starting to suggest intelligence and religious beliefs are not mutually exclusive. The 2013 study published in the journal Intelligence found that while there is a negative correlation between intelligence and religious beliefs in Western societies, this relationship is not universal and can vary significantly across cultures and contexts. Kim's high IQ and faith in Jesus Christ exemplify this complexity, indicating that intellectual rigor can coexist with spiritual convictions. I'll say it the way I see it. As I say, the science proves, and a lot of things they discover in a lot of ways, if done right and from the proper perspective, science proves the existence of God and all the things that we read and find in the Bible. And if you take a closer look at some of these things, I think you really start to get and understand a perspective that lots of folks are getting right now. It really is something else. You want to put in simpler terms? This weekend, I'm going to do it for you. You don't have to be a genius to get it, and you will. 8:30, 10, and 11:30 this weekend, Sunday at New Chapel, 4 Mile, just shy of Alpine there. We'd love to see you, as I'll be giving a message. It's all about freedom, and I can't wait to share it with you this weekend. So please, by all means, love to come out and see it. Of course, I may have something special for you, a little gift for somebody who comes and you, when you stop in and shake my hand and say, hey, I'd love to see you. Congratulations to Mando today. Mando Mark reposting this show over on Rumble. Thank you, folks, for sharing the show, whether it be on Facebook or X or Rumble. Wherever you are, you help us get the word out. And, boy, that goes a long way. We appreciate you being here. At 10:30 today, just minutes away, we'll record our after show, talk about the Karen Read trial, take you behind the scenes on that. Plus, Kristen Meghan Kelly's going to talk about that latest massive announcement coming with RFK, J.D. Vance and others, Dr. Jay Bhattacharya, about the folks in East Palestine and what this could mean. It's big news. In fact, we'll get to that coming up, like I said, in the podcast this weekend. You can listen and watch live Ask Questions if you're a VIP member over on Locals, justinbarkley.com/support. We'll see you then. Make it a great one. Wishing you the best. God bless.
I'm Dr. Kirk Elliott, founder of Kirk Elliott Precious Metals. After being in the industry for more than a decade, I knew there was a better way. It's an exciting time to invest in gold and silver with the most significant bull market I've ever seen, but please don't overpay for your stuff. At KEPM, we focus on low-cost bullion only, and we don't charge a commission when you sell. We would love to connect with you, so call our office at 720-605-3900
or go to goldwithjustin.com today.